It began like any typical company gathering: low lighting, soft music pulsing in the background, and laughter drifting from every direction. I had expected a relaxed evening with coworkers, a couple drinks, and some easy conversation. But the moment I walked in, I saw her behavior. My wife, Vanessa, wasn't chatting casually or keeping things professional. Instead, she locked onto my boss, David, laughing too loudly at his jokes, brushing her hand against his arm, touching him in ways that were unmistakably flirtatious. I froze, unsure for a second if my eyes were deceiving me, until she grabbed his hand in front of everyone and started dancing with him across the crowded room as if I didn't even exist. Heads turned, eyes followed them, and she reveled in it, relishing the way she erased me. The world around me seemed to blur as I watched. The smirk on her lips, the confidence in her posture, the carefree way she tossed her head back, all of it screamed control. She wanted attention, and she had it, showcasing her disregard for me in a way that cut deeper than any insult ever could. My chest tightened, fists curling, but I didn't lash out. I didn't raise my voice. I stayed composed, observing every detail. The way David's hand lingered on hers. The way Vanessa leaned in too close. The giggles from her friends encouraging her behavior. This wasn't harmless flirting. This was a deliberate performance meant to humiliate me. And I knew that whatever move I made next needed to be unforgettable. I waited, patient, focused. Vanessa spun, laughed, whispering something to David that made him chuckle and glance at me. Heat rose to my face, but I controlled it, walking toward them slowly, letting my presence be acknowledged without yelling or creating a scene. For an instant, Vanessa's eyes flicked to mine, a flicker of uncertainty. But she brushed it off, convinced she was untouchable. A moment of stillness passed through the room, as if even the music sensed what was about to happen. Then I made my move, calm, measured, and completely unexpected. I stepped between them and placed a hand lightly on David's shoulder. Vanessa went rigid. Confusion, then alarm washed over her expression. "Excuse me," I said softly but clearly, loud enough for those nearby to hear. "I think this dance is over." The interruption drained the room of noise. Laughter died. Whispers halted mid-sentence. Every gaze snapped toward us. My steady tone clashed sharply with the chaos she had created, and in that instant, it was obvious who held the authority. The smirk slid off Vanessa's face almost immediately, replaced by the first trace of fear. David shifted uncomfortably, glancing between us, unsure of what to say. He muttered something about it all being a joke, but the way I looked at him, firm, unblinking, made it impossible for him to continue. Vanessa reached for my hand, maybe to soothe things or plead silently, but I stepped back, shaking my head. The entire room seemed to hold its breath. Everyone understood in that moment that the woman who had strutted around so boldly had just been checked, and the dynamic had flipped in an instant. I guided Vanessa to a quieter corner, holding her wrist gently yet with unmistakable authority. Her face was flushed, her eyes wide, her lips parted as if she wanted to apologize but couldn't form the words. I didn't shout. I didn't insult her. I simply whispered, "You forgot who you belong to." Her body stiffened, color draining from her face as she realized the magnitude of what she had done, and the humiliation she brought upon herself. The room continued to watch, stunned by the silence and the sudden shift in power. For the next several minutes, Vanessa tried to compose herself, forcing awkward smiles, attempting light laughs, glancing at David for reassurance. But it was pointless. The damage was already done. Everyone who had seen her behavior now recognized her mistake. Her earlier arrogance had melted into embarrassment. Her overconfidence crumbled under the weight of the quiet authority I had displayed. She had aimed to make me look weak, small, ignored, but in the end, she was the one exposed, pale and shaken. When the party finally wrapped up, she didn't say a word as we left. No excuses, no defenses. Her silence said everything. She knew she had crossed a line in front of every witness. There was no need for me to reprimand her further. The looks from the guests, the shock in the room, the realization of what she had risked, those were punishment enough. For the first time, she understood that attention carries consequences, and games of power only work when the other person allows it. The next morning, she approached me hesitantly, her voice trembling. I didn't mean... I raised a hand. I didn't need her explanations. She had learned what she needed to. Boundaries aren't optional, and I am not someone who disappears in a crowd. That night, her arrogance dissolved into respect, and everyone had witnessed a shift. Every coworker, every guest, every spectator saw it. The woman who thought she could flaunt her independence had been met with calm strength and unwavering authority. Looking back, I realized it had never been about a dance or a hand on a shoulder. It was about drawing a line, asserting control, and protecting the dignity of my marriage before it became a spectacle. That night changed everything. Vanessa learned the price of arrogance. My boss learned to respect my composure. And the guests learned that quiet dominance carries more power than any public scene. And most importantly, my presence, steady and controlled, left her silent, humbled, and fully aware where the true authority in our relationship stood. Chip,